Oh, haha, stream time. Hello, hello, hello. Right. I don't normally stream on a Friday, but Shelby's taking a night off, so I thought I'd steal his slot. Ha 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 ha. Right. What am I doing today? It's entertaining you lot. What I try and do tonight. First off, I've got this incredibly cheap plastic EPROM eraser that's just arrived from China, and the cable on it, I'm not sure there's actually even any metal in this cable at all. It's so thin and flimsy, so there's no way I'm plugging that straight in, plus it's the wrong plug anyway. So what I want to do is change the cable on this to something a little more standard, a little more safe. I've also got, finally, the connectors to make proper cable for my SuperPro interface card. So I want to plug this card in, because I've not tested this card yet. And if I've got time, I've also got my IBM 6715. Yeah, I just squirted myself with isopropyl alcohol. That was nice. My 6715 that's needs a little bit of attention. A couple of the buttons aren't working right, and delete doesn't always work. So I want to give it another tear down and see if I can get to the bottom of why those aren't working. But that's the last thing if I've got time after the others. Oh. So my first thing is this wonderful high quality EPROM eraser, which surprisingly enough isn't LED based. It does actually have a fluorescent tube thingy in it for actual real UV, which surprised me, it has to be said. I was expecting just a little array of UV LEDs like a nail polish curer thing, but no, it is actually a real glass tube in there. Whether it works though, I have no idea. There's nothing else in here other than a cheap mechanical timer and a few wires and a switch. That's about it really. I think there's a ballast in there to strike the tube. But yeah, as I say, there's no way that I am plugging this in with this cable. No way at all. In fact, I think there's probably more wire in this twist tie than there is in the cable. One good test of these cables to see just how much wire there is in them is to snap them in half. God, look at that. I'm going to have to get the microscope out for you to see this. Let me just get it to connect. Connecting, okay, and over to microscope. If I can focus. There's no way that thickness of wire could possibly even carry 1 microamp, let alone however many amps this is supposed to take. Let me just peel this off a bit more. Look at that. There's 3-4 strands in there, I think, if we're lucky. There's a 1, 2, I think there's 5 strands of very fine wire in there. That is ridiculously thin. So yes, there is no way that's ever going to get plugged in. That's just... They really are starting to take the wet in China with the wire these days. It's just so thin and flimsy and nothing in there really. So yes, that's got to go. That goes into my wee bin. Right, let's have a look inside this thing. Well, they hadn't even tightened that screw all the way up, it was half out. Such great build quality. Oh. Wow, look at that. Oh, such a lot in there. God. Oh, nice build quality in here. Let's get the microscope again. And connected, there we go. What do you think of that for a nice bit of soldering? That's barely connected. This cheap mechanical timer, spring timer, and a simple, just a ballast for the light, and that's all there is in it. And that desperately needs a bit of a rewire job. Right, I'll cut this off, although I could just snap it off, as you saw. And I've got a replacement one. This is a standard 2-pin. This one's actually off an old Skybox. I don't want the connector at the end anymore. In fact, I'm going to just cut an inch off that and compare it internally with this. Let's just bring the other camera in. I can get a bit of a closer view without needing the microscope. There we go. Where is it? Come on. The strange angle. Look at the difference in size there. I think the Chinese wire in its totality would fit inside the insulation of the standard wire. It's kind of humorous if it weren't so tragically dangerous. And it's this kind of wire which causes house fires. I strip off the insulation here. Whew. Come on, let's find it. It's like a steel cable compared to a silken thread. And here's the insulation. I've just stripped off the proper cable, and does it fit over? Just out of curiosity. Oh, it might just, with a bit of squeezing. Yeah, it's that is tragically bad. Tragically bad. And there is 1, 2, 3. They're so fine I can't see them hardly. 1, 2, 3. 3 is aluminium as well, so it doesn't bend very well. 4, 5, 6, 7. There are actually 8 conductors there, but they are so ridiculously fine. In the proper wire, well, there's a few more than 8 there, and they're about twice the diameter. Ridiculous. So yeah, it's this kind of cable that does cause house fires. When you see these news stories of somebody who had bought like a, I don't know, a scooter or something on Amazon or eBay or whatever, and left it on charge overnight and then wondered why it burst into flames and burnt down their house. It does that for them. That plus, of course, the shoddy construction of the power supplies and things like that. So this wire effectively works as a long fuse, but in it becomes a fuse, it acts as a nice heater, melting the plastic. So throw that away and get on to soldering in some decent wire. And my camera is starting to freeze. It's not the best camera in the world. So it's not a camera, it's a mobile phone, but it does tend to freeze and lag and pause every so often, so if that happens, blame the camera. Right, that's in. Now the original had it tied in a knot, just like that, which I don't like. Puts too much strain on the internals of the wire. So I'm going to get a cable tie, I think, which should be in here, I think. Yep. A cable tie around it, but not until I've finished, so that I can get it in a good position. Okay, so what do we have here? We have even the basic construction of the driver here is iffy, to say the least. There you. Looks like they've used on this one and drilled out the centre of it. Not sure what they've done here actually. Either that or they just dropped solder onto it. inside the screw. If I can. Can't really see it on here. But there is no depth to that screw at all, and there's something in there. Like there was a security bit in the middle of it, which has been sort of drilled out. But only on that side for some reason. And my mobile has died. What's going on with this stupid camera? Come back, Droid Cam. No, it doesn't want to work now. Oh, there it is. Unplug it. Decided to come back. Except it's just not working well. Oh, there we go. It's back. Where was I? Ah, yes, this screw. I'll have to get a flat blade in there, I think, to unscrew it. All these two screws do is hold on a single piece of thin, flimsy plastic which covers the driver. The driver itself is, it looks like, glued such high quality construction, probably hot glue as well, isn't it? That is not wanting to come out. I don't want to put any pressure on in this direction because I'll be going up against the tube. I don't want to risk damaging the tube. Actually, looking at the way the tube is held in, it looks like the tube itself is just glued in. And it's held in with this sort of rubbery elastic stuff. So I'm expecting that's what's underneath here as well. Come on out, you come. Oh, it is well and truly stuck in. That is not coming out. There we go. And the camera's frozen again. I don't know why I bother with this thing. I'm going to turn it off, get it out of my way. Okay, we are finally in to the glued down driver. Yuck. And a tangle of wires. There's wires all over the place. What have they got here? God. The construction of this is just appalling. There's a wire that's been sort of soldered on the underside here. and it doesn't go anywhere. It's been cut off. And then they've soldered this one. I don't know, it was probably soldered on underside first, and then they've cut it off and then soldered it onto the diode that is just above it. God, this is terrible. Then you've got capacitors, through-hole capacitors with great big long leads on them, just dangling, shorting everything out. Whew. This is just nasty. Very nasty. So glad that I'm fixing it before I even plug it in for the first time. Eesh. I don't think I've seen one quite this bad before. Right. What I might do actually, apparently these timers don't last very long. So what I might do is actually just take the timer out of the circuit, it's pointless, and just completely bypass it. I think that might be the safest option. But how much effort would it be when making this to do that and that? And maybe that as well. I mean, it's not exactly a difficult operation, that is it? Trim the legs of the components rather than just leave them dangling out a good ½ inch. There's another one there. They've bent that one up as well, so it's just horrendously made. I've seen some bad construction in my time, but that's terrible. Right. So I want to take this wire out, neutral. And the stupid thing is, they obviously took this wire here and soldered it to the underside pad here, and then decided that wasn't very good, so they cut it off, leaving that there, and then soldered it to the diode next to it. But 3 or 4 millimeters away from that is a hole which goes through to the solder pad, which is the actual place where you're supposed to solder that wire to. I mean, come on. That's just being stupid. That comes off, definitely. I'm going to remove this as well. Right. So yes, we had a European plug, which has no fuse in it, going into this device, which has no fuse in it. If this was made in the UK, there would be at least 2 fuses. One in the plug and one as it comes into the device. But I don't think China believe in fuses. Fuses don't exist as far as China's concerned. So what this board is basically I think just a simple switch mode power supply, but not a very well built one. Not very well built at all. In fact, I'm not sure it is actually a switch mode power supply as such. I mean, it'll be an inverter basically. shockingly poorly built. Right, let's see about getting some wires in. I noticed one of these wires has fallen off now as well. That I assume goes through here. I think actually I may have cut it off inadvertently as I trimmed other wires. So that's going to need resoldering into there. For some reason they decided it's a good idea to solder these things through from the wrong side. And then wonder why it doesn't work well. Instead of putting it through and then soldering on the metal side, they put it through the other way and then solder the insulation side. Madness. Absolute madness. And of course, because they've done that, it's lifted the pad because there's nothing mechanically fixing it in place. What have I done with my tweezers? There they are. Solder. That's not great. What I think I'm going to do is scrape off some of the mask here. Lose that bit of loose pad in its entirety. Bit of flux. Then feed the wire through from the back, fold it over. And solder it on. Much better. I'm going to redo all these other connections as well, I think, before they fall apart. It's only the huge amount of glue on the back here that's holding it together, I think. so that's almost clean now. I get the feeling this is one which broke when all the wires fell off it, and they gave it to a 5-year-old to repair. Those wires are back where they should be. It's not the best wire in the world, this. It's single core, really stiff, really brittle. The other thing they might have done is stolen this board from something else in order to build this. And rather than desoldering it, they just cut the wires off. So I'm getting the feeling that the wires that I'm pulling out of the connections here are different wire to the wire that I'm soldering back in. That looks a little healthier now anyway. I'm sure those resistors touching each other aren't going to be healthy. Okay, on with the rest of the soldering. Now I would much rather have a little solder ferrule on the end of this wire, but I don't have any at the moment. So I'm just going to have to try my best to get it in. It is a little fat for the hole. Just make sure it's clear. Okay. That's better. Gone through so cleanly it falls out again. Okay. Can't keep it in. I need more than 2 hands. Okay. That'll do that. It's not a huge amount of pad to solder to. In fact, that has just lifted clean up. So I shall just heat that, fold it over and solder it straight on to that pin there. There we go. That'll do the job. Clean these switch terminals up a little. Oh, hello, who's this? I've got my wrong glasses on, I can't read my chat. There seems to be quite a delay on the chat as well. Carrot House. Hello. I'm not sure why chat isn't showing up on here. Let me just switch to studio mode a moment, and where are we? Overlay. Refresh stream elements. Not liking it. Where's chat gone? That URL not working now. Yeah, I'm not seeing any chat. Maybe it's shield mode getting in the way. Even the follower doesn't seem to be updating. Oh, now it's updated. Still not seeing chat coming up here. I don't know why. I can see me. I don't know why your chat hasn't appeared on there. Slow mode's off, followers only is off, shield mode is off. It looks... must be something to do with stream elements. And don't know why this isn't working. Probably something to do with the fact that I had to completely recompile OBS before I could stream today. Where are we? Let's go into my overlay and refresh stream elements here. Nope. I'm not seeing anything. It's all broken. Where are we? Stream elements. Overlays. Edit. Settings. Show messages permanently, so fade doesn't do anything. No. That should be right. Everything else seems to be working there. Turn it off on that. And bring it back, nothing. I'm seeing my chat now on there. Maybe it's decided to start working now. Oh well, I'll leave it to it, see what happens. Right, where was I? Yes, I was just cleaning these terminals on here. better. Yeah, just thinking I might, if I can find the box, put some heat shrink on this. Do things properly, not like this. There we go, much better. That's almost safe now. I'm going to need another piece of wire now. I'm taking this out completely, I think. If I can get the knob off. There it goes. I don't want this thing. It's just junk. By all accounts, it'll last 3 or 4 attempts and then it'll just break. And looking at the thickness or lack of some of these cogs in here, I am not in the least bit surprised. So yeah, that can be thrown away. And some wire. I might actually reuse some of this wire because this is much more reasonable wire than the rest of it. It was obviously made in a different factory. I mean, it's not fantastic, but it's better than the mains input cable that was on here. Come on, in you go. Nope. Ain't having it. Fold that up. See if it'll solder. It may not do if it's CCA. That's taken okay. Right. A bit more heat shrink. That'll do. Solder this one on here. And bridge it straight over to there while I'm at it. Oops. That didn't take at all well then. A bit dry, but it'll be okay. Right, that is done, I think. I hope. Let's tighten up my cable tie. That's good. Now I need to fix this down, and for that I've got somewhere my glue gun, but I'm not sure where it's hiding at the moment, so I might just use foam tape. Good stuff, this. Number plate tape. The hard thing with this is getting the backing off it. Come on, off you come. Got it. Okay. twist it, but that's fine. Now, this has left me with a hole. I mean, normally I don't care about a hole in a box like this, but let's see, lots of UV in there. And that'll be coming out through the hole. So I'm going to cover it with some aluminium tape, which is pretty good at blocking all light, even UV. This is another one which can be a bit of a pain to get the backing off. There we go. Seal that in. Keep those precious UV rays inside. Right, I think that's it. Oops, that's backwards. Oh, I forgot that part. Is that really needed? I guess it should do, just in case. We don't want it falling apart inside. A vital part of the construction, this little piece of plastic. Without it, the whole thing will just disintegrate. And I'm lacking a screw. There it is. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm not happy with it. No idea whether it works, but I'm happy with it. This is very loose, this. It's a bit of a stupid design, really. But it's all been done very, very much on the cheap. It cost about £20, this, including delivery from China. I think at least £18 of that was the delivery from China. Okay. I'm just going to give it a quick sanity check. Nothing there. 10 megohms. That's good. Turn that around. 16 megohms. No dead shorts or anything in there, that's good. Right. I think it might be test time. The moment of truth. Will it work or will it just explode? So far so good. Right. Drum roll time. Get something insulating. If I disappear offline now, it's because everything went kablooey. That's thinking about working. I can just about make out a nice glow from the inside. You can't see anything on the camera, but I can see a whitish glow from the inside. I think that works. See if it comes through these gaps here. The tube has struck, yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go. You just about see it in there. Success. We have UV, I hope. So all that remains now is to see if I can erase an EPROM. Now, I'm going to put this away somewhere out of reach for a while. So that the UV that's leaking out of the top of it isn't attacking me. There we go. And I'll leave that sat there for a while. See if I can erase those EPROMs. Right, job one done. Job two is my second SuperPro card. Now that I've got a hopefully proper cable for it, I mean, it's 50-50 chance whether I wired it right or not. We shall see if it works. So first off, I'll need my trusty old 486. Oh, heavy beast. Nice blur, that's all you've got to look at the moment. My desk camera can't focus on a plain white surface. Come on, focus, thank you. There we go. Will it stay focused? In we go. My good old 486. I'm half tempted to rip it all apart and turn it into a test bench. This is the existing SuperPro card that I've been using with the connector soldered on backwards because I haven't had the right cable. This is the second SuperPro card. None of these are in sockets, with the connector soldered on the right way, which means I can use a bracket. Right, I need a screw. Bracket, of course, is not in quite the right position because the bracket is off a different card, but it does the job. Right, that's in place. Cable on the back. What else do I need? I'll need a keyboard. Plug it into the right plug would help. I will need some power. And of course I'll need a SuperPro. And the SuperPro. And if I've wired this the right way round, I should get power on here. Let me get my video cable. Okay. Turn this around so we can see the power cable. Hey, dislike, hey. Beat your record of 3, end of line. End of line. Absolutely. Yay. Yeah. Oh. I need a deck talk, most definitely. Right. I turn the front on but the back off. And we turn this on. I think that's on at the moment. If I wired this the right way, that power light should come straight on. And a follower. 9 followers. Oh, I'm 1 short of my target. That lit up. That's a good sign. Right. Let's see if I can get this working. Okay. The moment of truth. SP2. Checking system, and it's found it. Hooray! My second card works perfect first time with this new cable. Right, let me find something to use it with. Here's an EPROM. Let's see if it'll identify it. That is in right, isn't it? Okay. Auto identify, yay! AMD AM27C010. Fantastic. So it's an AMD 27C010. There we go. It's full of rubbish at the moment. So I had no way of erasing them until now. So now I should be able to test whether those ones that I put in my eraser have... Oh! Tillwall's followed. Hello! I've hit my target. Fantastic. My best streaming session ever. Hello. And 5 viewers. 5 whole viewers! Whether one of those is me on this as well, I don't know. Hi, Tillwall. Haha. What are we doing today? Well, what we've done so far today is I've got a dirt cheap Chinese EPROM programmer that I've rewired to bring it up to code, because the power cable on it was so incredibly thin that it would have just melted the moment I plugged it in. That's now up on top of my desk here, erasing some EPROMs. And I've just been putting my second built SuperPro controller card in my 486 to try out my newly built cable for it. Because the original card that I had in it, I had to connect the main connector on it backwards, because the only cable that I had was a straight through one-to-one cable. It's actually this zip cable, zip drive cable from my Omega, and it wants a reversed connection cable, so I've had to put this on backwards. So I've got a second card which I built without any sockets for the chips and put the connector on the right way around, and yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday the connectors arrived for me to make a new cable for it with a ribbon cable. So I've knocked up that cable and plugged it in and found it works perfect first time. So I'm a happy bunny. So now I'll be able to use this to see if the EPROMs have actually erased up there shortly. But yeah, that went an awful lot quicker than I was expecting, so I've got plenty of time for part 3. So I shall shelve this whole thing for the moment. And we're going to get even more old school. For some reason I ended up on the wrong scene then. Right, get that out of the way. Part 3 of today's epic is trying to fix a few problems with my typewriter. The IBM 6715. I found this in the skip and rescued it. But it does have a couple of problems still. I'm not sure if those problems were there before I completely dismantled it and overhauled it, but they're there now and I need to try and cure them. One of the problems with it, I cannot cure, and that is that there is no paper. There is no 0 on the daisy wheel. I need to get a new daisy wheel for it. So if you want a 0, just do a capital O. But one of the main problems is the line space key doesn't work, or the line space functionality doesn't work because the LED doesn't change. But everything else, I think, on here, all the other buttons work, just line space doesn't. But one thing that doesn't work is delete. But it does work sometimes. So I don't know if that's the button that's failing, although it's clicking happily, or whether it's a problem on the main circuit board inside. So I'm going to take the lid off and see what we can find. I do know there is some corrosion in there, and whether it's related to that, I don't know. Right, it's been a while since I've been inside here, so I can't remember quite how to get in. It's not from underneath, is it? Where was it? Ah, yes, there it is. It's down in these slots here at the front. Got deep recessed screws down in here. And down in here. I think it's just the two. Make sure that one's undone. Yep. There we go, 2 screws out. And getting in is tricky. Oh yes, I've got to take out the ribbon, I think. Because this bit here gets in the way. And that can go under that, and then this lifts off. There we go, we're in. Yeah, it's all naked. Right. So the main circuit board is underneath the keyboard. And we have the LEDs plugged in here. Doesn't want to come out. Come on, out you come. And the keyboard plugged in here. There we go. One bucklespring keyboard. Oh, glorious sound. I'm half tempted to convert this into a real computer keyboard, but it's got half the keys missing for a computer, so it would be annoying to use. So I don't know if the line space and backspace problem is with that, or whether it is with the main board here, which does have some corrosion up in this area here, but that's not anything really to do with the keyboard. The keyboard connected in here and connects to the main MCU here via this logic. This logic here that is all corroded is for this extra connector here, which was so corroded I just cut it off. And that's for adding extra things, I don't know what, but it's optional extras. So I don't think that corrosion is part of the problem. But whether there's anything else that's not working on it, I'm not entirely sure. But of course it could be a problem with the keyboard itself. Although the line space key doesn't click as much as I'd like it to click. So maybe, just maybe, it was misaligned. Possibly. I won't know until I actually try it, of course. And to do that, I'm going to have to now reconnect the keyboard. And I hate these membrane connectors. Let's fold that down out of the way so you can see. Come on, in we go. Come on, come on. Right. And reconnect the LED strip. Get the power back. No, that's definitely not doing anything on that. The flashing is just purely because they're multiplexed. It won't do anything with the top off, of course, because that's in there. Not happy. What's going on here? Is it just purely because of the amount of light coming in that light sensor isn't working properly? I think there is a light sensor that down here, yes, that tells it when it's the end, and with all the lights on and the lid off, it just gets swamped with light. So there's no way that it'll work without the lid on. Right, is my problem the matrix of the keyboard, or is my problem on the main board? Now I've no idea what the pinout of the keyboard is. But it shouldn't be too hard to work out, he says. Right, let's move this out of the way. Right, I could dismantle the keyboard and examine the matrix and map it out that way, but that gets messy. I have had the keyboard apart and cleaned it all and refurbished it, so I've got screws in the back instead of the old heat stakes. So absolutely dismantling it is a definite possibility. But why this button and this one don't appear to be working, but everything else, as far as I know, does. Let's see what I can achieve in the way of continuity tests. Now this really is where I need 3 hands in order to attach a probe onto here. And sweep across here and press buttons at the same time. I am on the actual right side there, aren't I? Yes, I am. Pretty sure. Yeah, I am. I could do with some better way of attaching to there. That might work. Pair of forceps. Clipped onto there with probe stuck down in there. Connect that onto there and see if I can get any button to work. Not that. Let's try that. Nope. I could be here a while doing this. Nothing yet. Oh, I saw something then. something happening here. Nope, not anymore, there isn't. Oh, there. There's definitely something going on over here. 32 ohms. Okay. Right, something around here. Okay, if I press D, F and G all together, I get a reading on that, but individually nothing. Let's try ordinary resistance. Weird. Let's try the next one. There we go, I found G. I have found G. The next one, I have found H. I had something before. Okay. That's going to be another one of those multi-key ones. Not too sure what's going on with those. Right. This one I have to press 3 keys for as well. I'm not too sure what's going on with that. But that's colon. Not really sure why that's doing what it's doing. So what I might do actually is just dismantle the keyboard. It's not that big a job. It's only about 4,000 screws. If I dismantle the keyboard, I can examine the membrane and work out just what combination of connections is the line spacing key. Of course, I might find that the innards of that specific key just are slightly misaligned once I dismantle it. Urban Monkey, hi! Good to see you. At the moment I'm trying to resurrect some possible dead keys on the bucklespring keyboard of my IBM typewriter. I don't know whether it's the keyboard or whether it's the logic board. It's not vitally important keys, but it's an annoyance that they're not working. And it may be that when I overhauled this keyboard originally, I didn't rebuild that part of it quite right. So I'm just dismantling it, or redismantling it, just to A, examine that area, and B, check the connections of the keyboard matrix so that I can test that key. I was trying to find it just by random probing. I'd been there all night. So I've got about 400 screws to undo. Nearly that. Absolutely you should, it's fun. It's nice to have a bit of company when you're working. Even if it's imagined company, yes. Right. Backplate coming off. Springs galore. Now the membrane is underneath this felt layer. There we go. So the key in question is that one, if I remember rightly. And that one, and oh yeah, they are both on the same connection there. Interesting. And that goes to the far right of that connector. That's also on the same as the spacebar, the control key, and that's shift key. That's a shift key, and I'm pretty sure the spacebar works. I think I've used that a fair few times, so I think that connection there is perfectly fine. This one shares its other connection with these ones here, and I know those work okay. The delete key shares with the keys over here. That's, I remember what key that one is. That's tab clear. And now where are we? That's tab clear. That's nothing there. That one doesn't exist, I think. Or is that? Hang on, let's tip all those out. There's an entire extra row of buttons down the side of here that I didn't know about. the voices in your head will always win. Just give in to them. There's an entire extra row of buttons that doesn't exist on here. That's crazy. But then I suppose it's basically being used as the same sort of layout as the Model F with the model, is it Model F or Model M? I think they've both got the two banks of function keys on the left here, haven't they? For a different model, it's possible. I mean, one cunning thing with this membrane as well is you have these little holes punched in the connection here. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you've got 7 connections, which are just from the edge up to this bus and back down again. And you've basically got a common and multiple pins connected probably to ground. And then they punch a hole in different ones to create a different ID code. Whether that's used for the keyboard layout, I'm not sure. Probably is, so that the keyboard itself can tell the firmware what model of layout it is, and there may be a version with multiple rows of function keys down the side there, and they just use the same membrane for all of them. But yeah, it looks like these keys here, which weren't functioning, are shared with keys which I have used in the past. Certainly the space bar, so I know that connection's working. And the other one here, which goes to, where was it going to? That goes to tab set. I'm not actively used tab set. Not sure where else that goes. It can be quite confusing following these things. So my suspicion is that maybe the buckle spring was slightly misaligned and not pushing on the matrix properly. But to test that, let me just have a look. Let me get a pen to make a note on here. So we've got this one comes to this one in blue. This is a dry erase marker, so it'll just wipe straight off. And let's get a red one. Now, where does this get to? So it comes along here, up here to here. Then I believe it's going up this way, up to this one, along here, third from the edge. So we've got this one here. These are rubbish dry erase markers. And this one comes up here to come along here to meet this junction here, to come up here, along here to this edge. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So pins 3 and 13 here. Right, let's see if I can activate this manually now on here. If I grab my grotty forceps, clip onto there. that to there. That's activating on there, okay, and that there should activate on there. It does. Excellent. So I got that wiring correct. Now I have the fun job of putting it back together again. This gets tricky because of the springs. What I need to do is, you can't just put the springs in because they're too long, so they just immediately spring out again. So what you have to do is take off all the keys, every single one of them. So I'm going to grab my phone. Take a picture of it so that I've got a reference. And now go through and take off all the keys. Such a fun job. Easier without the puller, I think. Yes, much easier without the key puller. Getting buried here now. Let's move that out of the way. Now it starts to get awkward getting your fingers in. And the space bar is doubly awkward because of the extra bar on it. These dry erase markers, they were dirt cheap on Amazon, and they have been less than impressive. I think the only one that I can actually use is the black one. The rest are just so useless that I don't know why they even exist. Be better off using a permanent Sharpie or something and using IPA to wipe it off. Why do we need so many keys? You've had success with Sharpies and IPA, yes. IPA is wonderful stuff. I've got IPA, I've got IPA, and I've got IPA. And no, I don't drink it. That's why I'm still alive. And finally, oh. Right. Oh, my arm's aching after that. And now I need to lift this up slightly. But before I do, let me just take the main keyboard and put the felt back on it. Let's get it the right way around. I overhauled my Model F the other day, and that was horrible to deal with compared to this. The back plate wasn't screwed on, it's clipped on and you have to slide it off. And it's so tight that you're worried it's going to break. And then when you do, you find the inside hasn't got this nice piece of almost leatherette stuff. It's got stick-on foam and it's just all disintegrated. It was horrible. I much prefer this design, even though it was originally heat staked and now is screwed in more ways than one. Right, let me see about lifting this up. What I might do actually is, yeah, if I take this, move the buckle springs off to one side. Carefully slide all that up. It's all in a mess now, never mind. Then I shall sit this in here. So I can't have it on the desk, otherwise it suffers the same problem as if there were keys in there. Okay, that'll do nicely. Now, respring. 2 litres, that's nothing. That's a 5 litre. And now I've lost my tweezers. And there's buckle springs up in here as well. Got mixed up with the keys. Right. Now they will sit in quite happily without springing out everywhere. I was clearing out a friend's garage this morning. She's moving house, and I managed to score a pretty much full 5 litre bottle of meths that she no longer wanted. I think it had 1 sip taken out of it. So I'm okay now for solvents for the next goodness knows how many years. So many keys. There's something very satisfying about rebuilding a buckle spring keyboard, and at the same time mind-numbingly boring. Talking of keyboards, my Kale box navy key switches have been dispatched from China, so I'll be able to follow in Shelby's footsteps and re-switch my Keychron keyboard. Can't wait to see just how heavy these switches are. I've got the Gateron Browns at the moment, and they're not bad. They're not too bad. They're clicky enough, but they could be clickier. They're no bucklespring, that's for sure. I think we're about halfway-ish. God, I've been streaming 2 hours already. How the time flies. Go pick up your wife, fair enough. Go and be a taxi. I have to do that all the time as well. Well, yeah, thank you for dropping by. It's been great chatting. Maybe catch you next time. Chauffeur. Oh, absolutely. Have you got the cap and the uniform to go with it, though? You've got to have the cap. You have got the cap. Brilliant. You must take a photo one day. Drive safe. Nearly done. Hooray. All right, 3 missing, of course. There's one. Where's the last 2 gone? Let's get a different perspective. strange. Where have they gone? Okay. Am I going blind or something here? Or have I populated some that don't need populating? Don't think so. The ones that don't need populating have got plugs in them. Although return, I think I've got one there where it shouldn't be. So the ones with plugs have these pins on them and return hasn't. And neither has space. Right, okay. So that one shouldn't be there. I think that's it. I think that's the right layout. So carriage return goes there. Space goes there. Code goes there. Yep, that's right. Okay. I just realised you couldn't see a thing I was doing then. Let's move that out that way a bit. That's better. Okay. Actually, this doesn't stay on here at all, does it? So I shall just lay this down on here now. Okay, and the back plate. And the 5 million screws. Daniel DJ DK, however you pronounce that, Daniel Dick. Thank you for the follow. Far too many screws. But preferable to the Model F. I've got enough in now to lift it out. That looks good to me. They're all loose and flapping around. Yes, I say originally this keyboard was all heat staked together. So the first time I overhauled it, I had to break all those heat stakes off and file them all down, drill tiny little holes in them with a, I use a 1mm drill bit, and then go shopping on Amazon for the perfect screws, which are these little tiny 6mm long with a little flanged head on them. And they're the perfect size to replace the heat stakes. Could be a little bit shorter if I'm honest, they do tend to poke through in some places, but nothing too bad. But the heads are the perfect size, just big enough to hold against the plate without intruding on anything else. I've just realised my EPROMs are probably being cooked to death up there in the EPROM eraser. I'd better turn it off. Oh. They're a bit warm. Maybe I should have left the timer in there if I'm going to be forgetting about it like that. I'm sure it doesn't need this many screws. But I suppose when they were heat stakes they weren't quite as strong, so having a lot of them would spread the load. So I could probably get away with less screws than there were heat stakes. I really should have finished streaming about a quarter of an hour ago. But what can you do when you're having fun? Now I've started this, I can't really stop, so I'll be streaming until it's done. Get in there, you. I just want to go in straight. There we go. One screw missing. Well, it's not missing. I know that it's up here somewhere. I saw it earlier. There it is. Right, screws are in. Whew. Now the onerous task of repopulating all the keys. Start out with the most awkward, the space bar. There we go. One thing I do find with these buckle spring keyboards is if the spring isn't in exactly the right position within the key, it doesn't trigger properly. And the best way of ensuring that it does, I've found, is to tilt for... Oh, hello. Is that right? No, that's over that. No, yeah, that's on that side. So I'm getting confused with my shift keys. So tilt the whole thing forwards so that all the springs tip to the bottom edge of their tubes. And then it's pretty much guaranteed to work properly. So if you don't, they sort of get jammed up inside and don't click. And a buckle spring keyboard that doesn't click isn't a keyboard. Right, where's my reference image? Okay. So we've got 3.2 colon semicolon. Is that? There's the 3.2, which goes there. L. O goes there. Make sure it clicks on each one as I try them. Commas are there. Minus and underscore is backspace, hash and mu, minus and underscore. Half and at is there. Colon is down here. There's mu and hash goes there. Backspace there. Delete, that's one of the troublesome ones. Full stop. Y N M F G K 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, P 0, 7, 8, T. Square brackets are here on this keyboard. U, H, we've got Q next to tab, which there's lock. There's the shift. Where's the tab? There's the tab. Greater than, less than goes there. Q, W, E, R. Q, W, E. Z, X, C, V. X. S, A, S. D, ZXC, Z, 6, 1, 4, nearly there, 3, W, 2, cent, A, B. Excellent. Now just these side function keys. Rel, L, mar, R, mar, T set, and T clear. On the other side we have somehow we've managed to lose a key. Paper up, paper down, margin return, line space, and where has repeat gone? Find it around behind the monitor. No. Strange. How can I lose an entire key? Let's end it up over the side here. No. This is bizarre. I'm going mad, aren't I? I'm losing it. Not ended up on the floor somehow? No, I'd have heard it hit the floor, I'm sure. Ah. Odd. Very odd. Oh well. I'll come back to that in a minute. What I want to do now is test these pesky keys that aren't working. That works. And that works. So those keys are certainly working. Right. That itself is a good sign. I don't know if they were working before or not, because I couldn't test them without dismantling it to find out what the matrix layout was. Oh. I shall find that key later and put it on. I can do that afterwards. But for now, let's rebuild. Okay. We need the lid on to hide that sensor. Oh, I've just found the key, the missing key. It was stuck in the top of the grill on the case. Okay. Flip that out. Hold up the indicator and pull this over. I'm not happy with that indicator. It doesn't seem to be quite right. That's better. That plate was not in the right place. Okay. Let's see what happens now. Let's give it some power. It's still not happy, is it? Why not? Okay. Oh, is that another cable that I disconnected? Did I disconnect the cable for that sensor? No. That all looks fine. sensor. There we go, it was just loose. Okay, actually what I need as well to test this is the LED board. Can I change the line spacing? Moment of truth. Yay, it works. Ha ha ha. Button fixed. And that beeps now, it never beeped before. That's a good result already. Let's build it properly and try typing and deleting. And there's a little cover here for the LEDs. There we go. I think that goes that way. Put the lid back on. Not a very good design, that. Keeps popping off. Get the feeling that it's loose and just needs tightening. There, that's better. Okay. This is a mistaqua. Delete. E. Yes, delete works. And I can go for 3 line spacing. And 2 line spacing. And, oops, that was wrong. 1 and a half, and back to 1. Now pitch, I should be able to change as well. Yep. And I'm not sure what this function here is. You've got, oh, it's subscript and superscript, I think, isn't it? Possibly. Not sure how that works on this key, on this typewriter, but I am pleased with that. The only 2 things that are wrong with this now, both of which are very physical, mechanical things. One is it has no lever on the bail arm here, but that's not very often used anyway, that one. And the lack of a 0 on the daisy wheel, which I can live with since I can just use a capital O. Oh, God, it weighs a ton, this thing. Oh, ouch. Let's get these screws back in. And I will call that a success story. I then have only one more thing to do this evening before I call it a day. And that is try one of these freshly blanked EPROMs to see if it is blank. That should only take a moment. Video cable. Let's go over to VGA capture. Cable's not long enough really on this. I can't get up on the desk without bringing the whole computer up. Okay. SP2. Let's just check that the chip itself is still functioning after it's been summarily nuked. Yep, this is Texas Instruments. This is the TMS 27C256. Manufacturer TI. Oh, it doesn't care about the names, does it? No, it's just a straight 27C256. Blank check. Blank checking. Okay, blank check okay, it has wiped it. Let's just confirm that with a read. That is one empty EPROM. So the EPROM eraser works. And it has erased this EPROM, which was... well, this one I'd written as sort of straight zeros to the whole thing to attempt to erase it through various different means. By writing zeros to it, I could see if any bits had flipped at all back to a 1. Let's just check the other one while I'm here. This one's the AMD equivalent of the same chip. And that one's also blanked. That looks nicely blank. Right, well it's now 10 o'clock here in the UK. So I think it's time for me to call it a night. I've had quite a good bit of success there tonight. Oh, I set out to do 3 things and I have done 3 things. Rewired the EPROM eraser, that is now marginally safer and works. I have tested my second SuperPro card with the new cable and that works. I have fixed the non-functioning switches on my typewriter. That works. And as a bonus, I've confirmed that I can erase EPROMs. So that's 4 for 4. Not a bad evening. plus some great company as well. Well, I'm off now. I need a cup of tea. And I shall see you next time.